Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory belong to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Bakar Kodash. Double honors unto the elders and to the apostles of Graven Stone, and salutations to the open elect. Alright, the men that are pushing this word out in truth and in sincerity. This brother Yakal coming at you with another lesson through the spirit of boy Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Alright, now this one here is inspired by a few videos and articles I was reading earlier, last night rather, concerning Iran basically saying, hey, it's all out war. They want nothing to do with America, Great Britain and the West ultimately. And hey, that's the spirit, that's the spirit, or that's the time that we in the time of war, of World War III, hasting. All right. Now we understand that World War III ain't going to happen unless that MOTB becomes mandatory. All right, and that's what we're looking for right now. We're looking for the MOTB, to be pushed. All right, and to become mandatory. And for a matter of fact, hey, we see that the MOTB, is quickly gaining traction. All right, especially concerning the digital ID. We seeing this all around the place. For a matter of fact, I was reading yesterday. I was looking at a few articles as well. Sri Lanka, Uzbekistan. Places that you really and truly don't pay attention to. All right, some of these places way up in the north. All right, they also pushing this digital ID heavy. So this digital ID thing is global. And that's proof that it's going to lead directly into the MOTB. All right, now once that is pushed, guess what? That is the ultimate sign that, look, let the four winds be loose. All right, but for right now, hey, we gonna see a lot of tension building up. All right, and the stage being set. The scriptures say what? That the Lord mustered the battle. So right now the Lord is just getting everybody, and see if you want to call it though. All right, getting everybody on the edge of the seat, and literally starting with certain friction. You understand? You got Nigeria, all right, which was recently bombed, because of alleged ties with ISIS or Hezbollah. All right, that state there in the northern part of Nigeria, basically being bombed. All right, so hey, this thing is getting ready, and that was real random. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, Trump know what he's doing. All right, it's just that it was unexpected. You're probably just paying attention to a lot of the major players, the China, the Russia, North Korea, Iran, probably Japan. All right, those are the people that you're paying attention to. But just to see that, all of a sudden there's a militia attack on the northern part of Nigeria, that was somewhat random, but not random. All right, and that's just to show that, look, this thing is global, this thing is all over, and we in the time of this thing hasting quickly. You see, and that's what the scriptures say. They that were confederates with thee, shall hate thee. Because when you truly go back into the history of Iran, all right, during the time of World War I and II, guess what? Iran was a major ally to the US and Great Britain. For a matter of fact, two of their two of their era, supreme leader, you know, were installed by the US and Britain, you know, and I probably got to go back through the history to get the names right. But hey, that's just it. They were major allies. All right, they were sending missiles to them because they were used as, you know, a backdoor to Iraq. All right, and now we in the time of Iran saying, hey, we don't want nothing to do with America. But again, that came from the president of Iran, all right, and not from the supreme leader, which means that, hey, you know, the supreme leaders still probably have ties to America, and we're gonna see how we're gonna play out. All right, but at the end of the day, it's all prophecy. All right, it's all prophecy, you know, because everybody gonna start to hate this whore. You know, they seeing her for who she is. You know, they understand the atrocities that she's you know, pushing upon the earth. You know, because these states, hey, they don't really rock with that homosexual bullshit. You know, they don't really rock with the alphabet crew. All right, the Middle East, you know, Africa, countries in Africa. As a matter of fact, a few years back, or probably last year or the year prior, there was a whole thing with Ghana and the US, because Ghana was saying, hey, look, we ain't gonna pass no law that's gonna legalize this thing. And the US is basically saying that, look, it's either you pass the law or be sanctioned. All right, and I think it was Syria, you know, experienced the same thing too. All right, so that everybody is gonna start hating this whore because there's nothing about her that is righteous. There's nothing about her that is natural or morally sound. Everything about America is about wickedness. All right, and pushing of these crazy agendas. You see, because now why would you say, hey, like, try to understand the foolishness, all right, of the alphabet movement. Don't you know that in order for or one of the main purpose of life is to procreate, all right, or to reproduce? So why, and don't you understand that in order to do that, you need a male and a female, a man and a woman? The scripture tell you that that's who the Lord created. The Lord created man and woman. That's Matthew chapter 19. All right, notice not that from the beginning, you know, the Most High made man and woman, roughly paraphrasing. In Genesis it tells you that, all right, he made male and female, made he them. You understand? So in order for you to reproduce, procreate, you know, you need a man and a woman. All right, they seeing how a lot of economies are being destabilized, all right, because of a drop in workforce. All right, because take for example China. What's happening in China right now, all right, is hey, you know, being all over the place, right? But hey, that's just the spirit, right? We just, you know, having a conversation as we head into the field, right? So what's happening in China is that their birth rate would have dropped so low, all right, because at one point in time they was telling people that, look, don't be making children. You only permitted one child per household. All right. So what happened to the over decades? All right. You got the people that are in the workforce right now is between the age of probably 45 to about 65, heading into retirement. All right. And the new incoming workforce, you know, the younger persons between the 18 to probably 45 is literally half of you know, the older folks, the first group, all right, or less, half or less. And what's happening is that it's being destabilized because now you don't have the manpower, you know, to upkeep the manufacturing industry, because that's what China entire you know, economy is. The main driving force of China's economy is manufacturing, all right. And there are other countries that, you know, fall into that similar bracket, you know, of where their economies are on the verge of destabilization because of a lacking workforce. And that's why they push it heavy, you know, AI to be able to replace a lot of jobs, all right. But the point is that, look, that was only possible, all right, or a major player in that is that Alphabet movement, all right. The Alphabet movement is playing a major part in what? The depopulation of the entire earth. Going back to the Georgia Guidestone, you know, they want to have 500,000 people on the face of the earth. Understand how that's gonna be accomplished, you know? They're feeding you all sorts of fucked up food, GMOs, all right, things that get you sick, all right, things that your body really and truly can't digest, or it's not supposed to be processed in your body. The food already is heavily processed and loaded with preservatives. You understand? So now, instead of men being able to, you know, to be ready for action way into the latter days, you know, by the time men turn, you know, 50, 55, those men are gone, you know. They can't perform. All right, that's one aspect of it. Two, obviously the Alphabet crew. All right, so now people aren't reproducing as much as they should, because, you know, to maintain a healthy population, I would say, hey, you know, two child per household. All right, and there's just considering your nuclear family where it's just a man and a woman. All right, 2 child per household, just to keep the population stable. Anything less, hey, you're looking bad. You see, the chemtrails, the chemicals that they spraying in the air. You know, everything that they're doing really and truly is to mess with people, and chiefly you so-called blacks, Latinos, and natives, because you are the Israelites. You are as the sand of the sea. You're the ones that, you know, as things get tough, you know, you go home and you make children, you make babies. You know, you're the one that populate this earth. You understand? So their entire attack is on the so-called blacks, Latinos, and natives, and the other nations too, because they, hey, at the end of the day, Esau don't give 2 cents about anybody, not even himself. The scripture say what? That he selleth his bowels. You know? So all the nations upon the face of the earth now is seeing this woman, is seeing who she is, and they gonna hate her. You know, they gonna hate her. All right, because they drink of that wine of fornication. They partake in it too. You know, they try to push the agenda. All right, but at the end of the day, you know, the point is that, look, we're in a time of all these nations getting ready to turn on America. All right, to hate America. And Trump, all right, President Donald Trump, all right, is that that force that's gonna, you know, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that's gonna push it even more, because he's moving very, very reckless. You know, he's moving very, very reckless. He's just doing things according to his will. You know, and all these nations are seeing it and saying, hey, this man have too much power. All right, America has too much power. You know, and they're gonna start turning on her. All right, and with the backing of Russia, hey, they're gonna stand up against her. You know, they're gonna stand up against her. So hey, World War III is quickly heating up. All right, and as you see these tensions build, what's gonna happen is that, look, they're gonna start to push that MOTB even more. They're gonna push that MOTB even more. All right, the Lord is Yahweh Bashmi Haushai is gonna cause them to push it even more, because that there is, you know, one of the major prophecies that must come to pass before World War III. So as the tensions build, hey, they quietly pushing laws, all right, and quietly putting systems in place, you know, that is in conjunction with the MOTB, all right, and they're gonna put a whole lot of distractions out there. You see, Lord's willing, this one was edifying, giving all praises and glory to Yahweh Bashmi Avshai, Basham Kodash, Shalom.